With you, Rosemary.
Rusty Kennedy here.
Lee
McCoy here.
and Tom Myers here. All right, so we will start off as we normally do with board and committee openings. So we have one opening for the Affordable Housing Trust, two openings for the Conservation Commission, one opening for the Council on Aging. We have the Community Preservation Committee, two openings, one opening for a member of Historic District Commission, and one opening for at-large member. Hamilton Environmental Impact Committee, one opening. Historical District Commission, two openings for a 3-year term, two openings for a 2-year term. One must be a resident of the Historic District and one must be a resident realtor. And then we have one at-large Human Rights Commission opening. And at this moment, we will move to public comment. We will take a maximum of 30 minutes. No speaker will be allowed to speak for more than 3 minutes. And I'm not seeing anyone at the microphone.
No one online.
No one online. So we will move to Select Board Liaison Reports. I'll start with you, Rosemary. Anything to update the board on?
I think I reported on everything last month. There are several meetings coming up this week, which I will report on at the next meeting.
Hey, Rosie, hold on.
1 second, Rosie. We're getting a sound issue here.
You're not coming through on the speaker in here, but I think.
Let me change my location here.
Up there?
I might be in a bad location. I'm going to change locations. I'm sorry.
Rosie, say something?
Hi, can you hear me?
No, we're only hearing it from your speaker in there.
Is it because the projector's not on?
Oh, maybe. Hold on. Did we not turn the projector on? That might be part of it.
I'll just turn that way up. Maybe we should turn it back down now, too. I don't want to get
Is
too
that
loud.
working better?
If I take a second to...
It was up a minute ago.
Let's firing up a minute.
Yeah.
Only about here.
All right, Rosemary, can you talk to us?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Can you say something, Rosemary?
No, we don't hear you at all. That didn't help.
Okay. So now we've lost audio completely.
Hold on. How about that? Rosie?
Is that any? Can you hear me now?
A little bit. Turn up a little bit more and see.
Okay.
We good?
I think so, Rosie. I turned it up.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all right. We're good.
Okay.
Okay. I also changed locations because sometimes the internet service here in Hamilton is not all we would hope it would be. Anyhow, here I am. I said in terms of my committee reports that I think I reported on everything at our last meeting, and that there are 3 meetings happening this week. So I will report on those meetings at the next meeting.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Rosie. Lee, anything from you?
Yeah, so the last couple of weeks I've met with several of the town staff from several departments to introduce myself and chat with them about their roles and responsibilities. DPW, finance, police, clerk, HR, and the building inspector, I think, is all of them. And then the Hamilton Foundation met last Wednesday. Great meeting. They do just a quarterly meeting, and so it was good to meet them. They've had 3 applications since March for financial assistance They did a bylaw update. They're planning a fundraiser and their water bill insert that goes out in the fall, I believe. They had a successful scholarship, high school scholarship, and they discussed Asbury Commons and reviewing electrical and gas rates on bills for people to take a look at that and make sure it followed on an article in the paper about that as well. And then, yeah, I have a few meetings this week as well.
Great. Thanks, Lee. No updates on my end, so we'll move over to the consent agenda.
Can I just really quick make two updates?
Joe,
I'm not
sorry.
a board member, but just not a liaison report, but just some news for the board. The last word we heard is that the final closing and passing of papers on the sale of the Gordon Conwell student apartments is set to take place this Friday.
Oh, wow. Great.
So we're expecting that to take place. They've got a team in town to handle the renovations that they're going to be doing, and they've already met with the building inspector, so things are in line to go there. And the town was awarded again this year, the second time in a row, the Government Finance Officers Association's Budget Presentation Award.
Excellent.
Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, so
Yeah, well done.
that's mostly the department heads and Wendy.
Yeah.
But that's good work by everybody.
Yeah, great work to the team, and it's a huge honor to be pulling that 2 years in a row, and it's great. Great show to the town of what we've done. All right, consent agenda, we have minutes from July 29th as well as July 6th, and then approving the annual Tour de Greenbelt to ride through Hamilton. So I'm happy to entertain a motion to approve that, or if we want to discuss any of those separately, we can do that as well.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I second. I just have some comments.
Did you say you have a comment?
Yeah, just concerning the June 29th minutes, I just made a small edit, and just pertaining to the approximate date when Scott Sundquist will be leaving Gordon Conwell. Other than that, I thought those minutes were fine, and I did send that back to Catherine. So.
Rosie, I saw that, so I adjusted it in the hard copy that I have for you to sign. So if it gets approved, that should all be taken care of.
Okay, great. Then I think we're all set. Thank you, Joe.
Yep. Great, thank you, Rosie. All right, roll call vote. Rosemary Kennedy.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Lee McCoy.
Lee McCoy, aye.
And Tom Myers, aye. All right, consent agenda approved. We'll head into the main agenda, and we will start with a department head report with Tim Olson.
Tim Olson, DPW Director. I think wanted to bring everybody up to speed on the recycling program. I think it's a good idea that I kind of give a sense of where everything is, what other residents can be expecting, and then also how we're going to look at maybe commercial properties downtown and how we're going to do the pickup down there, since we are confining them and businesses to a barrel of recycling, and it does pose some challenges that I have some ideas on how to remedy. Right now, I think we've deployed about 95% of the barrels. I think there's about 100 people on a list for the small barrel. That far exceeded the original order that Casella put in for small barrels. So residents just remain patient. We have them on the list. We will deploy the small barrels as soon as we get them in town. Casella has committed to picking up recycling until that time. So there shouldn't be any issues with recycling pickup. Use your large barrels. For the residents that are waiting on small barrels, if they're able to utilize a large barrel, use that and they'll come and switch it out. If not, then continue to use past practice on your recycling, and then we'll get you the small barrel as soon as possible. I do not have a date on that, but I've heard like a week or two they should be here and then distributed throughout the community. So That's obviously residential. I know some people have asked for additional barrels. I'd like to get the, everybody having one barrel first, and then we can look to go a different direction or additional barrel if we decide to do that. The commercial properties downtown do serve, it is a little challenging because they used to throw away pretty much as much recycling as they wanted to, a lot of cardboard. We have some heavy users or heavy cardboard generators downtown, upwards of 20,000 pounds of produce some weeks. They've been in contact with me. I've been trying to work with them, trying to figure out they've always been in the program since I've been here. Even when I believe Hiltz was in town, and then when Casella they were brought over in like 2016. Businesses did have pickup. They were part of the program. But with the one barrel, it is challenging for them. So I have some ideas. If you'd like me to hear my ideas, I'd love to share them. But that's the challenge that we have now, is trying to get the businesses downtown to participate, and how we are going to move them forward. My idea is to give everybody one barrel, and if there are overflow needs, maybe have certain locations that Joe and I can help or pick out through town that have larger dumpsters for cardboard only. Maybe a good location would be the corner of Willow and Railroad in that parking lot. It would take up a parking space, but that is a business center town. They would be built to only accept cardboard, so that would prevent the trash and illegal dumping and things like that. Also, we could upsize our cardboard dumpster at Town Hall once that is open. We could have our monthly e-waste, but also cardboard drop-off. We could have that. And so maybe certain areas around town that we could have a little larger dumpster for the overflow. Businesses that don't choose to do that, maybe they have the ability to have their own on-site as a private dumpster, but giving them the one barrel and then an alternative for an additional overflow, maybe that's something to consider. So more to that, I think we are continuing to pick up, so we're not into a drop-dead date or anything at this point, but I think that's something we have to work through.
So, I'm sorry, so Tim, you're saying that because the solution has not been found yet, that where the Casella is still going to pick up sort of the old school way of doing things, just sort of picking up the recycling period? Is that, do I understand that right?
Yes, until there's a solution.
Yeah.
Casella has committed to pick up the recycling using past practice.
Okay.
I'm hoping to have a solution within the next couple weeks with the small barrels distributed, as well as talking with Casella and getting them to be able to bring up a couple additional larger dumpsters.
Yeah.
Location is what we're trying to work on right now.
Okay, and Tim, I'm sorry, I just have one more thing to add, that Kelly Roller, who is one of the COA board members, has volunteered to help seniors apply for the smaller barrel if they need help, and so they could just contact the COA, and Kelly Roller will be available to help them.
Yep, we keep an active list down in the DPW. We push that list over to Casella pretty much weekly. They're knocking off some. I think they distributed around 35 barrels last week. The rest of their stock that they had, and then there's, they're going to get to the list. But we keep a running list at DPW, so that's, as long as they're calling DPW and requesting a barrel, we're going to hopefully, within a couple weeks, have everybody the correct size that they want. And be able to manage.
Yeah, and I know you are. Thank you. I just wanted to get it out there that if people are unsure how to do it, then there is somebody available to help. As well as you.
Right.
Always you.
Yep.
So Tim, so pre this change, the businesses downtown, they just used the same process that every residential person, whatever barrel they had, they put out there. Is that?
Yeah, and then I think some businesses just stacked cardboard.
Yeah.
Just piled it up.
Like on the
And
sidewalk?
Flattened it out and piled it up, and the day before, Casella comes in and grabs it all.
Yeah. Has anyone been in touch with the businesses of like, what is like, what would be useful for them or helpful? Have we had any contact with anyone downtown?
So I have had contact with a few businesses downtown. The main contact has been Accord Food Pantry, because they do generate quite a bit of produce and boxes. They are right there with where the parking lot is.
Yeah.
I figured maybe that would be a good location for them. It seemed, I really didn't get into too much detail with them, because I wanted to obviously see if this is even a program we want to move forward with. Talking with her, she says we do generate a lot. We will probably need like 7 barrels. And I'm like, and that's what kind of got this conversation started about is there an opportunity for something else that will, be able to service not only them, but other businesses that occasionally might have more cardboard than normal, right? So that was kind of the idea behind it. So.
Yeah. And for that property, is that where we'd put it? Is that in their parking lot on their property, or is that town property that we'd put it on?
I believe that parking lot is, I'd have to look, but I'm sure, I think most of that the lot is town property.
Okay.
But there may be a little bit of a cup shared somewhere, but
Yeah.
that's something that I'm working with Casella on, but also making sure it's in the right spot for them to be able to pick up
Yeah.
easier than, for their truck, so.
Yeah, I like the creative thoughts on how to support the businesses. And as far as cost associated with like getting I know you said possibly one down by the town hall. Is there what's the cost associated with getting these dumpsters together?
So the one at Town Hall is part of our contract.
Okay.
It's always been part of the contract. If we add dumpsters, I'm sure Casella may, I don't know for sure, but I would expect them to, there might be a small fee for that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure, but I know the one at Town Hall is there. We need it dumped anyway with Town Hall. Just the business there. We generate a lot of cardboard, so we get that dumped as part of the contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for dumping dumpsters, they have to bring in different equipment.
Correct.
And so, and then they would need to navigate down through the cars that are often parked there. Maybe they're coming through early enough that the parking lot wouldn't be full.
We could make the arrangement of late or early, depending on when that lot fills up. I would definitely, if that's something we want to look to do, I would look at talking with some of the businesses down there. I think there are quite a few businesses that do park there. I'm not sure what time they start, but it would be something that they would pick up in an off time.
Okay, and is this a large size dumpster, or is this similar to the one that they have at the affordable housing?
The one that they proposed was about a 10-yard, which is about the same size as what's at Town Hall. Similar to the one that's right next to the park building, I believe, the brown park building near the pool.
Oh, okay.
So it's,
So is there some way,
and,
I'm
something
sorry.
smaller, but, just trying to figure out it. If not, if there's no space, then maybe we just open up the Town Hall, we get a larger 20-yard dumpster at Town Hall, put it in, and we have monthly drop-off.
Okay, and so Accord and the other business would need to transport that
Correct.
to Town Hall?
Correct.
Okay.
so Tim, the only thing that I think about is the aesthetics of having a dumpster right there in the parking lot. Aside from the fact that it's a very small and tight parking lot, I totally understand the issue that people are having. I just I don't know how I feel about having the aesthetics of a dumpster being in that parking lot. Certainly a thought. I just wonder if there could be some other solution that would be agreeable to people
Yeah, like I said, if there's not enough room there, if it's going to pose more of a challenge, we would take up a couple spots there for that, in which I know parking is pretty tight downtown. Maybe we just do a monthly, we can talk with Joe, but, something like that, opening it up that's the drop-off. We don't have a transfer station. We don't have that ability. But maybe we can do something with Town Hall that's a little bit more frequent for drop-off. So they wouldn't have to hold it for a full month.
Yeah.
Is there other locations that would make sense in the downtown area, or?
We don't really have many down there. I was just trying to make it local for them to be able to walk it down and drop it off. Most of those, the businesses right down Railroad, it's really tight. I mean, not a lot of the businesses have dumpsters for that reason. They just need one barrel or a trash barrel.
Right. And what about
I think Mello takes it out of town.
Yeah.
But there's always alternatives, but I think, just looking at trying to find a spot that makes sense, that's not too detrimental or, poses any challenges.
All right. Tim, what about the businesses down in where the CVS and the what is it, Crosby's down there? Are they all set, or tell me how they would utilize this system?
Yeah, we don't pick up there. I think they must have containers maybe out back. I haven't been back there, but we don't. They're not part of the town program.
Okay. And that's interesting. Is there just trying to educate myself?
You no longer have a quorum, so we will be in recess until we sort that out. So we're back in session.
Resumed at 7:24 p.m.
7:20, yeah, okay. So we are back in session. We have Rosie on the phone, and we will resume with Tim.
I know Rosie had a question. I think, Rosie, your question was, how did some businesses get into the program and others don't?
Oh, my God, oh, right. Okay. So my question was, how, I was just wondering for my own edification and maybe people who are also listening, how is it that some businesses are required or are responsible for their own trash removal and others are dependent on the town? I'm just trying to understand how that works.
So when I got here, we kept it status quo since I've been here for a full 10-year contract. Prior to that, I'm not sure which businesses were part of the program. I'm not sure if the town went through considered businesses that didn't have the ability to have a dumpster because of small lot size, no parking areas.
Is it essentially Crosby's and that Hamilton Crossing that doesn't get picked up?
I think Cumberland Farms, I don't think gets picked up.
It was most likely, I could ask somebody to go back and look, but it was most likely during the approval process for getting Hamilton Crossing and Cumberland Farms built, they were probably conditioned in the zoning process. So there was probably some kind of a condition because, particularly because Crosby's and CVS are such large businesses, and they had the land to have a dumpster. And those companies typically expect to have a dumpster. That's part of their business plan. That was probably written into the approval process for that project getting built in the first place. It's generally how that winds up getting handled. Whereas the rest of our business are small businesses located in older buildings. They've been here for decades, and they've always just kind of been treated that way, I think.
Yeah.
So businesses like Hamilton Market, Honeycomb, the businesses over off of Willow, those all are on town?
I believe most of them are. I mean, I'm thinking some of the newer ones. I know Honeycomb, I think. She reached out. She's part of it. So smaller businesses, I'm not sure if that was part of their business plan. I'm not sure. I just know that we've always picked up there, and we kept it the same pickup location. And there really hasn't been an issue up until when we have now changed the program. And so I think these businesses really in the town really needs to think about how we want to treat the businesses that may have enough space for just a recycling dumpster. The trash is limited or is minimal, or they pay the overflow bag cost, but we can control the trash. The recycling wasn't controlled before, and now we're trying to control it. So it's a whole different ballgame for some of these businesses that generate a lot of cardboard. It's usually clean cardboard. I'm sure there's, it's not, a lot of it's just boxes from produce or goods, or Amazon or whatever it is. But I think now that we're trying to control the volume of it, that's the issue. And do we want to try to help them out and, give them at least something to use? And if they need more than that, maybe they have to figure out a different plan or bring it somewhere else.
Okay.
I think we've changed what they've always been doing for the last, several years. So that's the question. How do we want to get into that, and how we want to handle that?
How much feedback, have you gotten complaints from the businesses downtown of since this has been rolled out? Have they been in touch?
They were concerned that their recycling wasn't going to get picked up because we were saying effective July 1st, which that was the initial rollout date. I said, there is a transition period. With any change, there's going to be a grace period. They are now still getting the recycling picked up, but they know that there's going to be a time that they won't. And they're trying to figure out, through me, what is the town going to allow them some other way to do that?
So they're not going to get it picked up once we officially move to the blue barrels because.
So I'm going to put a date on once I know everybody has a barrel. That's the whole once all these small barrels come in and we get those distributed, and I could, comfortably say everybody has a barrel. We're going to say effective this date, barrels are to be used.
Right.
Casella wants to go there. They've been wanting to do this, and they've been kind of sending a third truck through because they know that they don't have enough barrels to pick up that kind of recycling, outside barrel recycling, I guess.
So the businesses are saying they're not going to be able to fit it into one barrel. They're going to need, like the Acorn, you say, 7?
A few of them, yeah. I mean, the majority of them I haven't heard from, but there are some heavy, I think, volume generators that are...
Is it more easily solved by giving extra barrels to extra recycle barrels to those businesses?
I just think that...
I'm asking the question, I don't
know. I don't know. I mean, I would say, where does it end? I mean, maybe say Honeycomb, maybe they get 5. And then Accord gets 7, 8.
I mean, then once a week we're having 40 barrels lined up on railroad.
Right.
That's a little much. That's a lot. Yeah.
It's like,
and to Rosie's point, I know a dumpster doesn't look too appealing. Neither does 50 barrels on the street. So
the good news is if it's just a cardboard dumpster, and we can get a new one, they don't, because it's just cardboard. They shouldn't have stuff in it that's going to make them smell. There's not going to be any overflow. Tim did say these would be sealed. There'll be an envelope that you could slide your cardboard in, and like a little slit, and then that's it. The rest of it's sealed, so people can't put other stuff in there. Stuff that is, as I said, going to smell won't be in there. So it'll be a big box.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to try and figure out where's the.
Yeah, it is nicer than a regular dumpster that's going to have the trash and the stench and all the drippings and all that. But
You didn't need to say drip.
But I get Rosie's point. I mean, it's not, it could be an eyesore. But I also think, what's the alternative? Is either we don't support the businesses downtown, or we, have 35 barrels, lined up as, and it's going to,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we don't really have a lot of room downtown for that, for a dumpster. That was kind of the spot that I thought. I mean, it's not ideal by any means, but like I said, once we get town hall back, we can have that as the alternative, the overflow. we can maybe even put a 10-yard barrel outside the gate. At Town Hall, we take up 2 spots or a spot, and that's another location that we can use. And if people want to bring it down there and drop it off, they're not getting into the DPW, they're not getting through the gate, it's accessible.
Yeah.
We can do that. But it would take work from them to get that there. They'll have to transport it, and it's just changing maybe the way they have to get rid of it, so.
Again, if it's cardboard and it's folded up, broken down, it's cleaner, so it's not, we're not asking them to transport waste, trash.
It is a lot of cardboard when Accord
Yeah.
has their stuff out, and same with Timeless Interiors. It's a lot of material, so
Yeah, yeah.
it would take a lot of trips in a hatchback.
You know, maybe what we could do is we could talk with Casella about certain locations they have to pick up differently. And there may be a fee to that, and maybe we could, if it makes sense, you know, that fee is kind of absorbed by the business. Or something like that. You know, Accord, they have to put it out, they have to stack their cardboard, and every week they get picked up
Yeah.
by that third truck, but they got to pay, you know, or I'm just throwing that out there. Instead of having a dumpster, maybe if there's only a couple businesses like that, we treat them.
Yeah, it might be worth
As an
getting a sense
individual,
of the businesses that are going to have a large volume. I know we have Accord is obviously going to, you know, they generate a lot of cardboard. I imagine Hamilton House probably, you know, has a lot of, you know, cardboard as well. I mean, what other, is
Honeycomb.
the Weather Vane, do they have their own,
Which
Weather Vane, do they have their own dumpster back there?
I don't think, I don't remember that one. I don't believe so. I don't know that to be true.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
it might be
confident now.
it might be worth
But-
getting a little bit more information about which businesses, you know, and kind of, you know, roughly what their quantity is, and maybe, yeah, put a couple solutions together of like the dumpster, what that would look like, maybe having a conversation with Casella and what, you know, they might be able to offer as far as alternative pickups. But I mean, it'd be nice to have a couple options to weigh, and sort of impact on business, impact on cost, aesthetics, all of that.
I mean, because some people had like a conversation with me, they've called in and said, hey, what if we have a large, like a wedding, or we get, we're moving, and we have a whole bunch of boxes at one time.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you know, I think that may be something you want to call Casella and schedule that as a separate, you know, as a pickup.
Yeah.
But it has to be done in a certain way, and it has to be broken down, or whatever, so.
Or if you have a wife that orders from Amazon every day, yeah.
The sound was so distorted. Thank you for the effort. I apologize for interrupting.
Anyway, so I don't mind talking with them to see what their options are.
Yeah, I think,
And
yeah,
come
maybe,
back or go through Joe, or however you want me to relay that message.
yeah. So we were thinking, Rosie, that it might be better to first kind of get an idea of the businesses and what their need is in that area, so we have a better sense of volume. And then Tim was saying that he could, you know, go back to Casella as well and see if there are some options that we could pursue as far as like a third pickup or a special pickup for downtown. So he's going to, you know, go back and get some more information and come back to the
That
board.
sounds good. Yeah, it's just so tight down there. So, okay,
Yeah, so, I mean, he said it, but just to reiterate that it is, both with Timeless Interiors and Accord, is it doesn't seem to be that they always have stuff out. It seems to be that they
Right.
get huge loads just all
I
at
think-
once, and so,
I think the liquor store also gets a lot
Right.
at one time, like a delivery comes in.
Yeah, yeah.
Now they have a lot of boxes. I mean, they're nice boxes if people want to use them for moving or whatever, but I do see them occasionally out there on the roadside ready for pickup, so.
yeah, and whether they could coordinate their need so that it could be a single trip for Casella or some sort of.
Well, I think that's
All
kind of
for
how we
service.
do mattresses, right? We do mattresses every other Wednesday. So we coordinate, we get the call into the DPW, we need a mattress pickup, they pay for a mattress sticker.
Yep.
They come pick the sticker up, they put the mattress on, the sticker on the mattress, and then we give Casella that list for that following Wednesday. We can maybe even do something like that. They can come down and get a sticker, maybe they pay an extra fee, they put the sticker on the cardboard, and then we schedule a pickup. So, something like that.
Yeah, that might be
Why don't we plan, Tim, you to talk to Casella, maybe we'll have a little more conversation with some of the businesses down there and have a couple, 3 or 4 options that we can share with the board at the next meeting on the 17th, because this is all going to start to come quick. We want to try to have an answer for folks. Make sense?
Thank you, Tim.
Yep, thank you.
All right, we'll move to agenda item 2. And we're going to vote to approve income and asset limits for the FY 2027 Senior Tax Exemption Workoff Program. And we have Chief Assessor Jane Dooley with us.
I'm going to fast forward so that you can see. It's in your package. You all have packets. And Jane will present to you what you need to vote on. I think 3 separate votes, Jane?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Hamilton has something called the Chapter 91. It's a special act that's unique to the town. Gives the seniors who have limited income opportunity to get a break on their taxes. So we budget $50,000 a year. In the last 5 years, we served 22 households, so we'd like to increase that number. So we're proposing these income and asset limits. So I don't know if you took a look at it or not, but it's usually 65 years or older. So
Is this Board of Assessors recommending that you increase it to, keep it at 65 or increase to 70?
keep
Keep it at 65. So the Board of Assessors is recommending that you maintain the age limit for the program at 65, that you approve a total household income limit of $70,000 for a single person and $90,000 for a married couple, and that you approve total household assets of $225,000 for a single person or $300,000 for a married couple.
right.
As I look at it here, you could probably do it in one vote if you wanted to make a motion to accept all of those limits and do it in one motion.
Jane, could you just, I know there's several senior exemptions. Could you just review, just briefly, what this one is for?
So, I remember Bob Boulevard and Arthur Oberheim from Select Board at Finance Committee. So they put this special act forward. So it helps. Like, we don't really like to get the numbers of how much money people.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just, is it a tax exemption? Is it a tax deferment?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So, if they meet the qualifications, they get a break. So we have an algorithm that divides up the $50,000 based on people's, their household asset, their income, their age, and all those variables. So it's really evenly distributed, and it's a super complex algorithm. So
Okay, but it is a reduction in the actual
Right.
tax bill, X percent or X dollars.
Right.
Okay, okay.
And it's underwritten by a $50,000
Yeah.
appropriation in the budget that,
Right.
so shift.
that's, we're just trying to help some of the older folks stay in town.
Absolutely. I think that's a very laudable goal. Yes, I agree.
Do we get a lot of folks in Hamilton that get to utilize this? Is there do we have a,
So Jane said that over the last 5 years, you've been helping about 22 families?
great.
Is that what you said? How many families did you help?
We've had as many as 33, but the average is like 22.
22 per year.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
Wow, that's a substantial number of people. That's good.
Right, yeah, they need the help. It's,
Yes, they do. They do. So anything that will help with the tax burden, I'm certainly all for.
right.
Any other comments or questions from the board?
Just one other question. Is the household income, is that steady from last year or has it increased?
It increased 'cause The program was put in place in 2010, and we haven't increased household income. So this is, used to be like 47,000 for single, and it was 72 for married.
Okay.
And given the economy and what you get for your dollar, we thought this was more realistic.
Okay. Yeah, I just wasn't sure. I don't remember what the figures were from last year, so I appreciate you helping me with that.
Okay.
Just one question that brought up, is it possible to index this against something so that we don't have to readjust it every 16 years?
It would be, well, it's written into the act that the select board has to vote on it, but the board of assessors,
Sounds good. 16 years is not too bad.
believe me, it would be easier if I didn't have to come here every year, but I don't mind.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, we ready?
I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the Chapter 91 Special Act Senior Exemptions, increasing the age, or not increasing the age, keeping the age of 65 years old for an applicant, total household income of $70,000 for a single person, $90,000 for a married couple, total household assets of $225,000 for a single person and $300,000 for a married couple.
Second?
All right, and we are all here now, so we don't need to do roll call votes. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you, Jane.
Thanks, Jane.
Appreciate it. All right, moving right along. So the third agenda item we are going to table. There was a change in plans, and we will revisit that one at a later date. So we will skip over appointing John Green as associate member of the ZBA, and we will move into a review and discussion of the cemetery plot purchase policy. And Rosemary, I know you've been given the challenge of looking at some of our policies, and I know this is one on the list, so I'd love to hear what you've done, and maybe we can talk through some of these changes, so
Yep.
take it away.
I think, let's see, I think it's in our packet. So I think I talked about this briefly at our last meeting, and the goal, I mean, the purpose of it is to sort of protect a finite resource that is meant to be a benefit to Hamilton residents. And so thinking about that, it seems that there are particular circumstances where ex-residents would qualify. And two cases I thought were important would be in the case of an elderly person who goes into assisted living or a memory care unit, and and whoever is organizing this doesn't have time to think about this, and so they would retain the right to purchase a cemetery plot indefinitely. And likewise, if somebody moved out of state or out of their home and their address changed this in the same way that somebody in an assisted living's legal address would change, if this person was unable to care for themselves, they would still retain the right to purchase a cemetery plot indefinitely. And so that, I think, is the easy part. The hard part is where somebody moves out of town voluntarily. You know, I think the reality is we can't say that you can continue to plan to purchase cemetery plot in Hamilton if you moved out of town 30 years ago. Well, where did you go, right? I mean, I think that's a realistic limitation. So what I decided might be a reasonable solution is number 3, if a resident voluntarily moves out of town not more than 5 years prior, and that person had a substantial tie to the town, they're eligible to purchase a single cemetery plot. If it's a husband and wife, then they would be able to purchase 2 cemetery plots. And then just loosely defining substantial ties may include attending Hamilton Wenham School for the majority of K-12 or residing in town for 10 or more years. And then exceptions to this policy may be allowed due to extenuating circumstances, and all exceptions must be approved by the select board. But I think we all know we've had sort of uncomfortable situations here, and we don't have infinite space, and we need to think about future town residents. I mean, anybody has the option to purchase a cemetery plot while they are a resident, but if you move out of town and it's been more than 5 years, well, you know, we can't continue to accommodate these situations, and it's very sad when somebody comes in here and asks us. It's very uncomfortable. So that was what I thought would be reasonable, and I don't know what others think.
Yeah, I agree. It's always an uncomfortable conversation to have because, you know, they're looking to buy a burial plot and usually they have some like, well, you know, I had some connection at some point to the town.
30
or
years
They
ago.
know someone or they have a family member,
Yeah.
or whatever it may be. And
Yeah.
so I do I like number 3 in the sense where you defined out like what a connection to the town would be. I like having criteria that we can weigh it against.
Yeah.
I always think, I come back to 4, and I think we always like, you know, I feel like we do this with policies about like these extenuating circumstances, where I feel like everything ends up falling in 4, and then like they just come to us and we approve it because we feel bad, right? So I don't know if we can like define, like you did in number 3, like what an extenuating circumstance might be. Like, I don't know, like what is something that we would not approve in 3, but we'd approve in 4?
Military service?
What?
Somebody left town to pursue military service, and
Yeah, like
after
so- yeah.
spending a career in the military, their family was settled in Kalamazoo, Washington, but
Yeah.
they still wanted to be buried here because
Right.
their parents were here, and they, you know, something like that. where-
Right. It would be nice if we could like, and I'm not saying we have to like stick to these buckets of, but at least like maybe like an idea of like what that 4th category looks like.
Yeah, so
I feel like
define that
otherwise
for-
someone's going to come in and be like, well, you know, I really liked, you know, I played golf in myopia once and loved it. And
Right. Yeah, I just think, okay, Sue, yeah, I agree. I spent a lot of time thinking about number
yeah, no, I think
3.
you did a great job. I really,
And then
I-
4, I don't know, I think because I looked at other towns' policies and they sort of had that clause thrown in, maybe we don't have that clause thrown in, because you're right, that becomes the exception where every person feels that they have extenuating
And I
circumstances.
did the same thing with the abatement policy, right? I know, like, when I was, you know, and I put like a clause like that in there, and then I realized like everything was coming back to us, and we're like, oh, well, I guess we could approve the $2,000 water abatement or something. I feel like we get stuck in that position, that awkward
Yeah.
position of like, oh, well, the resident's paying because of leak, or this is their, you know, a cemetery plot. I feel like we always get put in that position where maybe if we have defined it a little bit, I don't know what the answer is, right, of what
Yeah.
that definition
Well,
looks like.
because, you know, I couldn't think of, I think that's why I didn't put it in.
Yeah, I can't either think of it. Maybe
Well-
that's why we end up in this position, right?
So I'm wondering if we should take that out and realize that we can revisit a policy at any time, right? So maybe we could, I mean, I don't know, what's our policy to review policies is, but yeah, that kind of stuck in my craw too.
But I even think the substantial connection to the town would qualify for Joe's example of like the military service, right, or
Exactly,
something. I
yeah.
think we could probably,
Still limited by 5 years, though. I mean,
yeah, maybe not the
policy's
5 years
5
piece of it, but yeah. So yeah, maybe that's what it is, but yeah.
Yeah. But we
so-
should set some
So you could,
boundaries.
But yeah, I
maybe
think, yeah,
exceptions.
hard. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Well, but we'll find an answer. We'll find one. Joe, I like your comment. I think that was very humane, because it's the same thing. Somebody left to perform military duty, had strong ties to the town, and then comes back. But why can't somebody think of that? You know, why can't some, I don't
A
know. I'm
lot of
just,
people join the military, join the military out of high school or right after college.
They're not thinking
You're generally
about-
not thinking about where your final resting place is going to be.
Right.
Between the ages of 18 and 25.
No.
yeah, I don't know. What do others think? I think that's
Yeah.
an extenuating circumstance,
Yeah.
such as long-term military service.
Yeah. Maybe even like, yeah, just like keeping that line in there, but then maybe like adding that, right?
Yeah,
Like such
yeah.
as.
Yes,
an
such
example,
as.
Like that example and maybe another example. Or
Yeah,
something,
so
right?
it wasn't that you voluntarily left in that sense that, oh geez, well, I'll think about that later. I mean, there's.
Order to leave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I would go for that.
Yeah.
So that you.
But I guess someone that went to prison in another state could also probably qualify too, right?
do with this one.
I guess I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I think we could. I like what you did with I think we could probably. Yeah.
So technically, to adopt a new policy or revised policy, you'd need to do 2 public readings, and then you'd vote on it after the
Okay.
second public reading. So you still, I'm assuming, I think, want to hear from Ben and Bill on this.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe we'll ask them to comment back to you prior to the
flesh
next
out,
meeting,
yeah,
flesh
flesh
out,
out
maybe
for
make
the
4 a little
military
bit more meaty,
service.
and then,
It's a good example. Yeah.
and then if everybody feels like it, you could do a reading, a
Yeah.
first reading at the next meeting that would get it started towards being adopted.
Well, isn't this the first reading?
Not if you're going to make changes and you haven't heard from Bill and Ben yet.
Well, the next meeting would be the second reading, and then we would vote at the meeting after that.
Okay, you can do that.
I don't
Wait,
know.
does the reading have to be on a complete and like ready
Yeah,
to go?
The reading's
I think
supposed to be on a
reading might need
complete,
to be on a complete.
a reading's supposed to be on a complete policy. Like, you've finalized all the revisions you can make, so I think
Technically, this
you
is
have
not-
time to do this between now and the next meeting, so that the next meeting could be the first reading.
Okay.
I'm not trying to slow you down.
So yeah,
Just trying to
Got a
dot
lot
i's
of
across t's.
policies to
I'm
review.
just trying to dot
I
i's
like
across
adding
t's.
just that little caveat at the end, like such as someone that left town more than
To-
5
for
years
dedicated
to pursue
military
service
service.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I agree. Joe, that was a very good suggestion,
Yeah,
and good for the support. Okay, so I'll
No, it looks great. I
flesh
think-
that out a little bit. See, you know, my mind is always on the seniors, so Joe helped me to refocus, so on military people. I think that's very good.
Yeah. No, this is great. This is always a tough one. I agree with you, Rosie, on, you know, when we get those requests that come before the board, I think it's a lot of it is just, you know, give it to them because they're deciding on their final resting place. Yeah. So it's like,
Right.
oh, yeah.
And that's-
Who am I to decide where you want to be buried?
Yeah,
But at the same
yeah.
time, there is some real concern around it. Right? There is limited space. as you
And there
raised,
are, you know, where have you been living for 20 years,
Right.
right? Then you need to figure something out. I mean, it sounds less than empathic, but in reality it's not, because we're a small town, we have a small cemetery, and we cherish the history and the beauty and the peaceful environment of our cemetery, and so.
Like you said, people always have the ability to purchase a cemetery plot before they move out of
Well,
town.
that's what I said, right, exactly.
That gets them out of the,
Right, and that's in the little preamble here, that they can, current residents may purchase burial plots for immediate need or future planning, so
Yeah.
everybody always has that opportunity.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
Makes me think about what, I'm going to be doing now. I'm here.
well,
Go purchase one now.
and then, so, yeah.
No, that's great. Thank you very much.
Can you remind me
Rosie.
real quick, is the policy if a person wants to sell, do they sell person to person or they sell back
No,
to
they
the
sell
town?
back to
they
the
sell it back to
town.
the town.
And should that go into the policy as well, or is that
That's a
not?
good point. I probably should.
Oh, yeah.
Probably
Oh,
add
well,
it-
wait a minute, yeah, well.
Make sure that it's clear. If you're going to update the policy, update it to say that someone who purchases a plot needs to sell it.
I don't think that's ever been anywhere. It was
No,
just sort
but
of,
it's a good idea that it goes in. I like that idea because we,
was urban legend prior to this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
it was just established past practice and people would do that. But, I mean, how many people are going to go on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace to list a cemetery plot?
I
mean,
agree.
Most
although-
likely not
although
going to happen.
There are
but-
websites to do it, and my parents sold theirs to a friend.
Oh,
And
okay,
so,
yeah.
that's-
But yeah, it's a good idea to have
Okay.
it in the policy.
Further, okay.
Interesting,
That's
okay.
fine. I'll add that as well. Okay.
What does a cemetery plot go for these days?
It's on our website. I don't know offhand. We have single plot. We have prices set, established for single, double, and family plots.
Excuse me, yeah.
I think our
Yeah,
mayor
yeah, I
said
did see that.
$1,500 for two,
Yeah, I
or
think
something
so.
like that.
I think that's right.
750 piece.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
Oh, okay, sorry, one more thing about
go
that.
ahead.
Is if a person did want to sell their plot to a friend,
They need to come
They'd
before the
sell
select
it.
board and make sure that they were either current resident or that they fit one of the
okay,
exceptions.
so they fit that, let's say, so they sell it back to the town technically, and then on the same night approve selling it to the friend?
You could probably work that out if they come and let us know that's what they want to do.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's a good
Doesn't
idea.
sound
So
that
they
difficult.
couldn't sell it for profit, then they have to sell it back to the town and sell it to they can't be making income off this. So,
we would say that no, you would sell it back and.
No.
No, that's.
I mean, I don't know if that's something is there a risk
You'd
there, right?
You'd get
Of like-
back what you paid for it, and then
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
new person would pay what our current rate is.
Yeah, I was
So-
just, yeah.
If you bought it a
although on
couple
the
years ago
side,
before the
if
rates
we-
went up.
If we could arrange it, then on the side, I could be like, oh, and I'll give you an extra $500 to.
Right, yeah,
make
we
the
can't
arrangement. So you
regulate
couldn't-
that outside, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And that's a very good point, that if somebody wants to sell it to a friend, they need to fit into the same criteria, so
Yeah,
yeah, bravo for that. Okay, great,
Yeah. All right, that was good. Good job, Rose, thanks.
thanks.
So then you'll make those revisions, you'll share that with Ben and Bill for feedback, and then we'll bring it back to a future meeting to discuss again
We'll try and do it for first reading.
for a first reading. That'll be the first reading. Yep, great.
Okay.
All right, moving on, review and discussion of the FY27 goals that began at the June 29, 2026 workshop.
So it's in your packet. I believe it's about 5 or 6 pages long. I took both from my notes and the minutes from that meeting and looked at the recording, and I filled out the spreadsheet that had been proposed as the goals sheet. This isn't in no way intended to be a final. I wanted to present the board with something that you could each think about, then talk about, and we can make amendments that you want. We can add tasks and timeline, measures of success. We can add goals that you want to add that aren't currently here. I think I captured everything that was discussed during that meeting on the 29th, but until you start to finalize them, that we have time and room to add to it.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you, Joe, for pulling this all together. I see there are a couple of items in red here. Is that like those are specific ones you want us to weigh in on?
So, I mean, Gordon Conwell, Browns Hill, I mean, I had there, it was a carryover from last year, and we had talked about it at the meeting, but I didn't really have a sense from my notes or the minutes of whether we needed to keep that as a goal with this. As I note, the sale is expected to close this Friday. Is there more there that the board wants to do or consider at Gordon Conwell? And then economic development goal, planning goal, I think they were raised as ideas of things that we should have goals about, but there wasn't any real specifics. And I had no way to kind of put together tasks and measurements of success without understanding a little bit more from the board. So I was just really asking for input and feedback from you so that I could flesh those out. Yeah. The economic development goal, I believe, was brought up by Ben.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember he went into some detail on some thoughts, so maybe we want to wait for him on that particular one. But I know for Gordon Conwell, and as you noted, the sale being the 7th, there's nothing more for us to do other than we will potentially receive some sort of payments at some point.
We should be getting a check for $400,000 right after the 7th.
Yeah, and then there would be additional, aren't there additional, depending on...
Down the road,
down
if
the road.
if other parts sell, then we'd be getting additional money, but the next thing is the $400,000 when...
So where does that, like that 400,000, where does that come into as far as the goals, how we want to utilize that? Is that part of the Gordon Conwell like goal, like a continuation of that, or is that going to fall into some other bucket?
I think it's going to fall into some other bucket. So like all funds, unless they're designated either by state law or by a vote of town meeting, all funds that are collected by the town are general revenue funds. They go to the general revenue, and they don't get spent until they're appropriated somehow, or designated to be in some other fund. So you can create a special revenue fund, there's a lot of things that we can do at town meeting. We have a lot of, good news. Good news, we have a lot of money this year that we have to have a conversation with you and FinCom, and then ultimately the town meeting about what you want to do with the $600+ thousand from the cell tower lease sale, and for the $500,000 we're getting out of the Gordon Conwell sale now. It's a lot of money, and we're going to be asking you to look at repurposing the quote-unquote field stabilization fund, because the way it was drafted, we were never able to use it. It's accrued quite a bit of interest, so we're upwards of $670,000 in that fund now. I mean, all told, you've got almost $2 million, $1.75 million, but it's one-time money. So you have to determine how you want to use it and how's it going to benefit the town taxpayers the most. Where do you want to direct it towards things like Patton Park, highways,
Does that have to be
roads?
spent within a time frame?
No, but
But it's not an ongoing,
Right.
yeah, it's a one-time expense.
we wouldn't recommend at all it be used at all in the annual operating budgets, because it's one-time revenue. So
Right.
once it's gone, it's gone.
So it's like capital money.
It's similar to capital.
Similar capital.
And
money.
actually, specifically with both, so specifically with the funds from the stabilization field, that was proceeds from the sale of land, and that has to go to capital. So you can
Okay.
designate it for specific capital, but it has to go to capital. It can't be spent anywhere else.
You know, I think the money from Gordon Conwell, and this, I'm just thinking this, and people can tell me I'm not thinking clearly, but that's kind of a windfall. And I think we could think of some creative way to develop a fund that we could draw from every year for particular purposes. And I don't know what that is off the top of my head. I mean, you all know I have a strong affinity for seniors. And that wouldn't be the only population, obviously, that would use it. But I don't know. I would, my inclination would be to make it sort of a fund where particular people who fall into a category could apply for small amounts of money every year. Like, this is just thinking off the top of my head, like maybe seniors could have their excise taxes on their cars paid for. And I know that, you know, it's not a huge amount of money, but it's a meaningful amount of money, and it won't deplete the fund to be able to do other things. That's just a thought off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is good to have, you know, these sort of ideas and creative things of like what's going to be most impactful for the town, right? I mean, these, like, between the Gordon Conwell money, between the sale of the tower, and obviously the stabilization fund. I mean, if we're looking at 1.6 or close to $2 million that can be spent on improving, like, yeah, we could diversify it and, you know, make sure that we're impacting a number of different, you know, demographics within the town. But I think a goal, and I'm not sure where it fits on here, and I have to dig in a little bit deeper, but it should be, like you said, Joe, working with the FinCom, and maybe it's a separate you know, part of the capital committee or part of the, you know, a separate group that really looks at this fund and what should we use it
And
for.
what are the needs?
Yeah, what do we need, right? What do we need beyond just, you know, your standard capital purchase? Is it Patton Park? Is it, you know, something for seniors?
but-
Is
okay,
it, you know,
yeah, but
is it
Patton-
sidewalks, right? What is it that we can do?
No, I think we have little funds and little buckets for those sort of things. This
Right.
would be a personal need for real human beings is what I'm thinking about, right? And because Patton Park is going to be well-funded, and I think we should use it for something that meets
So
immediate
how do you,
needs.
how do you think Patton Park's going to be well-funded?
Well, it's funded from ARPA money, $800,000, isn't that?
the ARPA money's all gone.
But I thought it was 800,000 was allocated to Patton.
The bulk of the ARPA money, the board voted to designate towards the water treatment plant to get the secondary treatment online to remove PFAS. The vast majority of our ARPA money went to that. Some was dedicated, they put a small amount aside for something at Patton Park, but it wasn't. And then we did repurpose some money at the last town meeting to take care of the gazebos and things. But you have a Patton Park master plan that was roughly $2 million worth of improvements, and there's no current designated fund for that.
Corrected. Okay, I thought there were grants and funding for that.
And what about, and like, I know there's like the master plan of like the downtown improvements too, like wasn't there something associated, is there a fund, is there funding?
No, those are all things we have to,
Right.
the downtown plan, revitalization plan, we have taken it once in the past to the state looking for grant funds from the old MassWorks program.
Yeah.
And the one-stop grant is what it's called now. We'd plan to do that again.
Yeah.
We're currently working with the engineer to get design up to 75% of the project engineered with better cost estimates and a determination if we can phase it. And that will wind up landing on the 5-year capital plan. It's been on the capital plan as just a placeholder, $2.5 million, but no detail. We're hoping to have that into the 5-year capital plan this year with better detail, better understanding of where that stuff needs, and then we have to have the conversation, where's that money going to come from?
And I'm liaison to the HTC and should know better, but they are eagerly awaiting this costing estimates for the
The SE
downtown
group, yeah.
project to understand how they fit into that as well.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because that's a big one too, where that's a meaningful impact for everyone. And, getting, whether it's the bike lanes and just revitalization down there. And I think there's a lot, there's a lot, right? And I think these are the conversations we should be having, right? Of, what is the best value for the bang for our buck here?
And we're going to sell the Patton Homestead, the 3 buildings and 3.23 acres.
Has the RFP?
The RFP will be advertised starting this week on Wednesday. So then we have to leave it open for a month, so we won't get the bids back till September. But when that property sells, the funds we get from that will be one-time funds from the sale of the land. So that we'll get half of it. Half of it goes to the Patton family, and our half will have to go to capital. Mm-hmm. So you'll have based on the valuation of the property, you're going to have another $1 million plus there. So you're really going to have, $2.7, $2.8 million of money, one-time monies that we can really plan for how to get the best use out of it. Lots of conversations going to happen between now and then. Your board, FinCom, probably the Capital Committee, but a lot of those projects that we have to do, lots of capital and infrastructure investments we have to make. It's going to cost us less if we do it now than if we do it in 5 or 10 years. And it's going to cost us less if we do it with money we have on hand as opposed to doing it by bonding.
Exactly,
so, you've got an opportunity in the next couple of years to tee up some good projects that won't cost the taxpayer, but will improve the quality of life for our residents here.
I think, and you've talked about having conversations with the FinCom, with the Capital Committee, with this board. I think this is a real good opportunity for some community engagement, right? And what does the town, think of, what do they want? Do they want to, I've seen, people talking about, Patton Park and wanting to see some updates there. I've seen downtown and wanting to see updates there. But what else is on, so maybe there's some community sessions that we could hold.
So I think that it'd be great to do some community listening sessions and get ideas in. I would say that I've seen it happen in other towns that sometimes when you invite that in, then you wind up with, paralysis by analysis. Sure. Then, we've had 20 great ideas. Nobody wants to make a decision on which one we push forward. Mm-hmm. So I would say have the listening sessions and then have the boards and committees rank their preferences.
Yeah, no, I
and then bring something forward to town meeting so that you have a plan.
Yeah.
So do we need to walk in though to the to having FinCom take a look at that and what the needs are and trying to come up with an analysis of what those would be? Do they need also that downtown estimate before walking into that? Before attempting to accomplish that? Or is that,
I mean, I'm hoping to have that estimate by the end of this month, if not sooner. So BSC Group knows that we're trying to get our budget season and our discussion of capital starts in September. So we've been plain to them that we needed those estimates and that design done this month, so.
okay, great. I'd just point out that Patton Park was one of my top priorities, and I don't think it's on this list.
It's on it? Okay, well, at Patton Park? Yep.
If we would add it, that'd be great.
You know, in the Hamilton Wenham Little League had offered, when I was in my prior term on the board, to help do some renovations down there. And I'm wondering if we could tap into them again and revisit that and see if they would still be willing to contribute to that effort.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, and I think actually, one of the other things that we talked about at one point was that I think there's, and the problem is that this takes someone organizing it, but the opportunity to allow people to participate in some of those activities related to the park, I think really helps with community building, allowing people to, if we get an order of trees in, letting people help with digging the holes and planting the trees and being able to sort of be a part of that and be like, oh, that's a tree I helped plant 30 years ago. But it takes someone to plan it and actually manage that. So
We don't have a lot of extra people.
oh, I know. Didn't you just hire someone?
Finally hired somebody for the full-time administrative assistant role in my office, and she's been here for 2 weeks now, going on 2 weeks now, which is fantastic. So, and she's doing great. She's picking it up. So.
Is Laurie helping to orient her?
Lori's helping to orient her, but Lori leaves for vacation this week, so Kristen will be on her own for the first time.
Okay, so if what's the next step on this? We walk through and rank these ourselves? Do we have a conversation with?
So typically, the board can have conversations in meetings. Individually, you can share your thoughts with me and the chair, and we'll try to circulate it into another redraft of this and get it out before your next meeting on the topic, whether that's on the 17th or in September.
Would it be helpful to have these ranked, or just like these are the ones I care about, these are the ones I don't care about?
Well, I mean, I'd be looking, I mean, unless you want something to come off, I'm assuming that most of these are going to wind up on the list, but I guess, yeah.
That's a long list, though. That's
It's a long list every year, Lee.
It's aspirational.
It gets bigger and bigger every year. And
Yeah,
so, I mean,
but
we
we've
also
taken some things off the list the last couple of years. I mean, I feel like we've taken some things off the list the last couple of
Big
years.
things.
Right, yeah, big things,
so-
yeah. I mean, and the fact we're taking Gordon Common off this.
No, it took
And
me
the
8
town
years to do
hall
it, so.
project,
Yeah.
the town hall project.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And then
Getting the
Patton
cell,
Homestead.
getting the cell
So-
tower done, Patton Homestead.
Exactly. So there are a lot of big projects that are coming into fruition. So that's very
Got the second cell
exciting.
tower permitted, and we're just waiting for them to start building.
Right, right.
Oh,
Any
I-
expectation on that, when they're going to start?
Tomorrow.
I asked Mark today, and, their timeline and our timelines aren't necessarily in alignment. They've got their permits. There's nothing else they need from the town. They have up to 10 months to pull the building permit and start building. So they
Okay.
haven't pulled the building permit yet. They've done all their study. They say they're going forward this year,
Next 10 months, though.
but in the next 10 months, it should start. So
And Joe, how tall is that cell tower going to be?
I don't know. I'll
forget
have
the
to go
number.
back
I'm
and ask.
sorry.
70 feet or 100 feet, somewhere?
I don't remember offhand.
I don't remember.
And
either.
the carriers, they haven't decided on what carriers?
Well, it's
but-
going to be Everest again, and they typically build for Verizon, but then they're going to try to attract other carriers. They're still the way they have to.
AT&T.
Well,
T-Mobile.
AT&T has got permission to put that pole top
that
thing
little one?
on Walnut, so that should be going forward as well. So
And this is going to improve downtown, right?
Yeah.
Goes-
I know, are we considered
Go ahead.
down?
What, that's just, yeah.
if a new tower at the public safety building doesn't improve downtown,
Well, a new tower at the town hall
I'd
didn't
suggest
improve downtown. So I thought that one would improve downtown, but no.
Well, that
I
was too low, and, you know.
I didn't realize you need so many of them. But all I just want to get a phone call at Crosby's. If I can get my wife's phone call from Crosby's.
I definitely think the one, even though it's for AT&T, I do think that the one the pole top one is going to help, and that's going to be quicker. And then I think
When's that one, what's that one scheduled for? Do we know?
that one, they were trying to get it done this summer, but I'm not even sure what they need to, I mean, they've got the permit that they need, they've got approval to go forward. I don't even think that they need to pull a building permit, they need to pull some kind of permit to block the street for a day while they install it, but it's not.
Is that it for towers in Hamilton, or is there other, like, gaps or areas that they are looking at?
I think they're trying to fill in gaps because, you know, coming up 1A, there's other, and I don't, Wenham and us are kind of dark spots, but.
Yeah.
Well, don't give up your landlines just yet.
Yeah.
I brought my landline with me tonight.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to rank your choices or say which ones are your priorities, and I can use, you know, common ones among you will get moved to the top of the priority list.
Yeah, I guess back to Lee's point, so, you know, we're continuing to edit this document, but Bill and Ben, I imagine, are going to want to weigh in, so we're probably going to want to provide you feedback separately, and then bring this back for is there a vote on this, or just more of just?
Eventually, but I don't think we're ready for that yet, yeah.
At some point, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Anything else we want to discuss here? No. Goals?
Just on the e-bike bylaw.
Oh, yeah.
There was another article that came out in the Patch News a couple of days ago, and I don't have my phone, but I did send it to myself. But it talks about the continually heightened concern of medical people and police and parents about the burgeoning use of e-bikes without any criteria. And I will tell you, I was driving down the street and I came across this adorable little 11-year-old boy who was sitting on the side of the road with an e-bike. So I thought, let me just get a man on the street kind of interview. And he had a helmet on, but I asked him how old he was, and he said, I'm 11. And I asked him how long he'd been riding that bike. He said a few months. And I asked him where he rides it, you know, just trying to get his understanding of his knowledge. Now, the kid was adorable, and I know he wanted to do the right thing, but what is the right thing? And I just would not want to see any of our darling little kids hurt. So that heightened my awareness of the need to put some boundaries in place. Just because it's there doesn't mean that young kids should be using it. And last week, again, I saw some little kid riding one of those mini motorcycles around on the tennis court. I was like, whoa, what are you doing here, right? It was upsetting. I thought, boy, it's out of control. So those are just more circumstances that make me aware of the need for that bylaw. So I don't know, in reality, does this belong here on our goals, or should somebody be writing a bylaw? What do you think?
I think it's worth talking about more. I mean, I agree with the e-bikes, and they're a little terrifying to me too. I was going down Union the other day, and someone was riding in the middle of the street, no lights, nothing, and it was dusk. I almost hit this person,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
teenager or young child that was in the middle of the road, just
Yeah.
zooming down there.
Yeah, I had the same experience on Union Street as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I know, I talked with some people I know in Danvers, and their select board is actually looking at this as well. I don't know if it's worth exploring what they're trying to do, and, you know,
Yeah.
if there's some language we could borrow or something like that, but.
Did we hear that there's something in the state legislature? Yeah, also.
Yeah, there is something there, and I did look at it.
Does it not cover?
Well, it's very legislative, so it's very broad.
They're trying to satisfy police chiefs across the state who all want something to hang their hat on.
Right,
Because,
and we certainly can write our own bylaw that's more particular to our needs. We have a lot of kids here. We have a lot of kids who have the ability to have e-bikes. So I think that's going to go to the top of my list, and I have spoken with Chief Guy about that as well.
Yeah, I think it's worth continuing. I mean, I'm interested in
Yeah.
seeing what we could put together.
Yeah.
If I voted in favor of a bylaw for e-bikes, I would probably lose all respect for my son, who keeps asking me for one, but I'm not giving him one.
Bravo, Papa. How old is this little young?
9.5. I'm like, you are.
But you know, I think that little peanut that I saw on the tennis courts, he looked pretty small to me. So,
Yeah.
you know, and
But yeah, I think it's a good conversation to keep.
yeah, yeah. So anyhow,
So what is the ultimate goal of the e-bike scooter law? To give the police the ability to enforce rules that we
we have to make the rules
make the rules
and then give the police the ability to enforce them too.
And
like
that would be a
ticketing,
bylaw that would have to go to ATM for passage, too,
Yeah.
so town meeting would.
Yeah.
So it would be something like, like what, like speed limits or something on it,
No,
or like
it's age,
age, helmet.
It could include age,
equipment.
where they can ride,
can ride, yeah.
what's classified as an e-bike, so basic,
Right.
basic nomenclature, and then there have to be consequences. It's not just, oh no, you can't ride it. There have to be consequences.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to pull parents into this because who gives the kids the bikes?
And Chief Guy was interested in the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
okay.
So, anyhow,
So Joe, what did we typically do with if there was the select board was interested in pursuing a bylaw? What is that general process? So do we work with town council on that? Do we
We can have town council work with you on it.
or do we bring something to them, or do we
You
ask
can do it
them?
either way. We've done both. They both have. Typically, if it's going to be a bylaw on something that's going to go before town meeting, I like to involve town council as early as possible.
Yeah.
Because we have a better way of being sure that it's going to be, pass muster with the Attorney General and everything, with the Secretary of State when it gets approved, so.
Okay.
so we've done that before, asked town council for the initial draft, and then I think on some bylaws, I have taken the initiative to review them and then send it back to town council, and we just decide what we want to do given the draft that town council sends us. If that's not a burden for them. I mean, there isn't anything yet, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe we bring this, we have 3 members tonight, maybe we bring this to the larger board when everyone's here and we can talk through about next steps. I think it would be better. I'm sure Bill and Ben would want to weigh in as well.
I think you're going to want to do the same thing with the Dark Skies bylaw.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Get a draft of one. I know that the ad hoc citizens group that's been working on it has some stuff, so I'd take that, give it to town council, say, give us your best take on what is currently being done in other towns with this in it, and give us a good draft that we can
What
start to
exactly is
chew
the
on.
dark skies bylaw? What is that? What are the details of that? And what are we regulating there?
Lighting, and
Outdoor lighting at night.
yeah, and
like putting
down lighting, and is there a need to have lights on all night?
Certain types of lighting too.
Yeah,
Like the coolness, the hotness or coolness of the color actually also impacts,
Yeah.
native life, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Does that just apply residential, or is that going to apply to town facilities, the schools, and all of that, or how does that generally work?
It depends how it depends how you write it. We've been, without a policy, we've been trying to do our best, so, I know that a lot of thought was given by the architects when they planned the outdoor lighting for the town hall. So it's going to be kind of it's going to be compliant with current kind of dark skies best practices right now. But that, it's not the same thing. The garage is right, the DPW yard is right next to us, and hasn't been considered yet, right? So,
Right. Yeah, and Ann Giroux is an attorney also, and she will be very meticulous about thinking about how to write it, and maybe we don't put the whole burden onto town council, but maybe if they've done a draft using other dark sky bylaws, we could take our draft and send it to town council. I'm don't want to speak for Ann, but I just know what a little smarty pants she is, and she'll have something good written.
Yeah.
That's great. Anything else on goals?
Not tonight, for me. I mean, maybe you have some.
Not tonight.
New business.
We just talked about a lot of new business.
Yeah, I think we did, yeah.
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 We get some
And
stuff.
so,
That's a quick question about Patton Park. When does the work begin on Patton Park?
The gazebo is going to happen in the fall, probably September, I think. They've opened the bids, they figure they've got what they need to do to go forward with the project, but they will wait till we get through the summer parks program and stuff, and can block off the area, so.
What about the other project, the walkways project?
I'll have to ask Sean about that, but it'll almost always happen in the fall, because they want to get past the heavy use time of the summer.
and I thought maybe the culvert, the flooding was going to be a high priority item down there as well.
Phase 1 deals with drainage and
Yeah.
walkways.
Right. I mean, I haven't seen the Patton Park master plan, to be honest, and I just, my gut response is, how much more stuff can we put in that park, really?
What you mean? Well, I don't.
There's not a lot more stuff going in under the master plan. There's a lot of improvements to things,
Yeah.
and
Improvement to the bathroom facilities.
improvements to bathroom facilities,
areas, trees, walkways.
more
are sort
trees,
of the
more
big-
walkways, handicapped accessible walkways to make navigation of the park
Where are you
easier for
going to
people
put
with
the
mobility
walkways,
impairments.
I wonder?
The what?
The walkways.
They're in
They go
the
around
master
the-
plan.
they're in the plan. They go around the lake.
They go around the lake, which we may not be able to, like, right away do all the way around, but we can make it more complete than it is now, so.
Kids love that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cute. Okay.
I mean, I do think that there's a good opportunity to sort of tie those different pieces together, because it does feel like sort of the lake is one part, the
Yeah.
playground's another part, the fields are another part, that it sort of gets separated into. Anyways, I think that the walkways will help sort of tie that all together.
Unify it, yeah.
But they are separate areas. They have separate uses, separate populations. I kind of like the idea that you can be in the tennis courts, and then you could go to the park, and then you could go over to the lake. What is it?
Pond.
The pond.
Pond, yes. The giant lake.
And yeah, it's just I think it's kind of organic, and it's kind of
Yeah, but I
cool.
think that's what Lee's saying, though, the pathways will make that more accessible for everybody.
Yeah, I think the accessibility piece is huge.
People
right?
with
Yeah,
mobility
of course.
impairments can't necessarily right now enjoy the park the same way you do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah, I just think of little kids running over there. Yeah.
I think there'll be plenty of space for kids to still run around. I think that, to your point, supporting all populations and all of that earlier point of like, I think, the accessibility piece is going to be huge for people that want to come down to the Sunday night Patton Park Band and listen to music and sit by the gazebo. I
Yeah,
think it'll be really good.
that's very true.
I think
yeah.
it'll be great for everyone to sort of have that opportunity, so.
I need to look at where that paths are planned, because I just find that park very full.
One of the things, we were contacted by a parent with concerns and suggestion of fencing the playground, which is not part of the Patton Park master plan at the moment. Related to child safety, especially for kids with special needs. And
I'll raise it with Sean,
one thing I think
they'll
that
look at
would
the
be
plan.
really important to have a conversation about is that when that does happen at parks, it is definitely great for parents to give them, that allows them to be a little bit more fluid about letting their kids run around a little bit more, but it also does very much isolate the park from other people who
Yeah,
right.
participate in the park.
Right.
That-
It creates a barrier, which is the purpose, but then
It goes both ways, though.
Yeah, there's pros and cons, and
Definitely.
I see
And
both
all
sides.
of our walkways now, currently, all the walkways that are available are adjacent to the playground, which would make it, whether it's something to think about.
What kind of a fence is being contemplated for the playground?
there isn't one right now. That's what it's.
No, that's what I'm asking. What
Yeah.
kind of a fence is being contemplated?
None. A parent reached out and was sent us some information about how playgrounds with fences around them are better for safety for young children and also for kids with special needs, specifically like autism and stuff, because of kids that that have
Right,
access to water.
I understand, but I'm just
So-
wondering aesthetically what kind of a fence.
That's not been, it's,
Not
we're
been
not, there's no discussion about it. It was
It
just
hasn't been
about-
contemplated.
Okay.
It was just raised by a
It's not
parent.
in the master plan at
Yeah.
all. The master
Right,
plan
and
does
and the
not
master
have
plan was developed over lots of public open sessions, taking input from residents, users of the park, asking what people, so that I'd want to know why was a fence discussed, and
I think just out to 1A at the time that the
Well,
park
there's
was
there's
known.
that fence across there, but currently, like I don't know that there was a.
Right.
I'm not sure that would pass as a security. The current limits there would certainly not keep kids from being able to
Yeah,
go through
yeah,
it and access 1A. These are just things that
Yeah, to think
we need
about,
to
yeah.
consider
Yeah.
as we go forward.
Yep.
There's no plan at the moment.
All right. With that, I will take a motion.
I move we adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.